Welcome back. And today on the Hire Me podcast, I have with me the incredible Adam Zimmerman, a data engineer, data analyst, product manager, and software engineer. Let's jump right into learning how Adam could be your next great hire and professional connection. Adam, welcome and tell us about yourself.
Thanks, Chris. It's great to be here. I am a bit of a jack of all trades. So did a lot of swinging hammers after college for up to 20 years part-time. And then in 2018, I was like, I need a mission and I wanted to try something else. I had done 2 years of tech sales, and I saw a lot of software development around me. So I gave it a shot and developed my own Android app called Dead on Mars. It's still out there. And I was like, hey, I like to code. And in that game, you can run over zombies on Mars. So it's just a little mini game to prove out, yes, I can learn C# development. And fast forward to 2019, I was working at UC Berkeley, analyzing microscopy data, looking at 3D and 4D volumes of little parts of the epithelial lining inside the brain, and kind of segmenting that image data and using some machine learning algorithms there. And basically, I'm oriented around I believe if enough people push in the direction of health span, of increasing longevity, and working on cancer or working on drug development, I think all of us, if we keep pushing in that direction, we will make progress. So my goal is to use software and data pipelines to enable that healthcare and health span outcome.
That's incredible because there's so much needed in the healthcare space right now. You also just said a bunch of things and I'm like, I have no idea what that is, especially when you talk about 4D modeling and things like that and 4D integration. That's incredible. And I would love to learn more. Unfortunately, this isn't the space for that, but I'm definitely going to look into it a little bit more. So as you are job hunting and searching, what type of role are you looking for?
Yeah, thanks. So ideally, I'm looking for a healthcare company, but at this point, I'm broadening out to anywhere with a data group or a data product that they're working on. So my last two roles were at pharma and biotech consulting, building dashboards and data pipelines. So I think we're going to touch on this, but I'm just really interested in a dynamic team that needs somebody. I'm looking to sort of solve end to end, from the customer facing side to the how do you pipe the data and what kind of cloud resources should we be using, and all the code in between.
That's awesome. Good to know. Good to know. I mean, with all of this work, you shared that you really want to be focused on a mission-driven organization, mission-driven team. But what do you really love about the work that you do?
Yeah, it's a great question, because there's kind of different layers and different days of the week that you get really engaged in different elements of it. So sometimes, like leaning on my sales background, it's really fun to interface with customers. And I've even looked at like technical customer success roles, getting values from the stakeholders and technical requirements, turning those into a Jira board. That's fun. I love taking notes. I love, organizing a Jira board and prioritizing. And then on the other side, it's fun to just really dig into a coding problem and kind of block your calendar and really go hours and hours into building and refactoring if necessary, and hacking. Honestly, that's a bit of my background, is more on the startup side of getting V1 ready to go so that our stakeholders can take a look at it and give feedback, and sort of that full software development loop.
Very cool. Very cool knowing that you have that, not only that experience, but that desire and that variability within your work that you can really focus on and bring to the whatever team that you go on to. So you touched on this just a little bit ago, but when you look at in your past organizations and the past teams you've worked with, what were those leaders and cultures that you found allowed you to thrive?
Yeah, so I think I actually succeed best with incremental deadlines, which is part of why I like the product management ethos. And so I loved my last boss. He was really compassionate and thoughtful and creative and open to new ideas. And I also loved the previous boss at Ultragenyx Pharmaceutical, who had concrete deliverables on specific dates, and then we're going to have a meeting where we're going to have the stakeholders there, and it's got to be ready for that. And I think that kind of balance of chaos and order, for lack of better terms, is really what you're looking for, of a loose leash and freedom and some structure when you need it.
Autonomy is so important, but it's good to know that you like having that balance between that autonomy and the structure as well. So as you're having these conversations with organizations, with hiring managers, with recruiters, inevitably they're going to ask, what problems can you solve for us, for our team, for our company? How would you answer that?
I think my ideal place to get in is at the beginning of a new product, or at the refactoring and scaling of a pretty new product. So suppose you have, on the technical side, some new laboratory instrumentation that you've just installed. Maybe you're sequencing genomic data, and you want to make sure you're storing and moving that data the right amount and throwing away what you don't need, or compressing or altering. So the extract, transform, and load pipeline is a key idea in data engineering. And when you're first building that out is when I can help the most. And so I think I'm looking for a sort of startup role or new products within existing organizations.
Very good to know. So as we wrap up, last question, what matters to you?
Yeah, I like excitement, and that's why I drive a Tesla. I was so lucky to get one when the stock doubled. But the reason I like the car and the company and is because it's the same reason I like excitement. I call it incentive alignment. For better or for worse, everybody is human, but that company is trying to do good for the environment, and good for their community, and good for their investors, and good for their employees, and good for the customer. And that's really my goal, whether you want to argue about that company or not. Like, I think incentive alignment is really what you need.
Yeah, that's so important, right? Especially in this day and age, is there needs to be alignment not only between the mission of what the organization is doing, but its leadership, its employees, the processes, everything internally. So that's really great to hear and good to know. Well, Adam, I loved having this conversation. Thank you again for coming on the Hire Me podcast. Again, it was great learning more about you, your skills, and how you'll bring value into your next role. If you are watching or listening, be sure to connect with Adam Zimmerman through the links down below in the description or show notes. And make sure you're subscribing, following, and liking all of our content here on the Hire Me podcast so we can continue elevating more of today's top talents. Take care.
Thanks.